Now, after 4 years, you are leaving the poker games. When you look back, do you feel there's anything you learn from poker that actually helps you a lot when you are doing other businesses, your current business, or like embedded in your thought process and make you really make good decisions in your futures and other businesses? Is there anything like that?
Oh, I mean, I kind of feel like almost all of it is transferable.
Really?
This sort of, I think one of the big things is, hey, you've got to make, sometimes you just need to make an important decision and you just want to come up with the best decision you could in 2 minutes. Let's say someone bluffed you on the river and then they froze time and you could spend 2 months researching that hand. You could spend 2 months, the guy's frozen there. You can stare at him for 2 months. You can write out every hand he could possibly have and be like, oh no, he wouldn't have raised so big if he had ace jack. Oh, he wouldn't have, cross it all down. And then you could read some books. You could maybe go research that player. You spend 2 months and you come back and you got to decide call or fold. Your decision probably isn't that much better than it was after 2 minutes. And I think the same can happen in a lot of business decisions where you sometimes need to make something that's pretty important. You have a lot of factors to weigh, and you can do an okay job of weighing those factors quickly, but then you could also drive yourself crazy spending 2 months on a small decision. So I think the poker helps with, okay, I'm not trying to make an A plus decision, but I'm trying to make a B or a B plus decision with the information I have. So I think that's helpful. I think the risk management is helpful. The kind of, a lot of people, I feel like, you have optimists who are always dreaming of the best things possible to happen. And I think that's too many entrepreneurs. And then you have pessimists who are always afraid, well, what if this, what if that? And I think those are a lot of people that, maybe should have become, probably had the ideas to become entrepreneurs, but were too scared, I guess. And then I think kind of poker teaches you this sort of like realist type of approach where it's like you go in and you kind of, you hope for the best but plan for the worst kind of thing. And I think that helps you to kind of figure out what risks are necessary. With poker shares, we've tried a lot of new markets. This Bybit thing will be one of them. A lot of different things where a lot of other competitors might not touch a new product like that. Whereas for us, we kind of shrug our shoulders and think, hey, what's the downside if this doesn't go well? It seems like a lot of these things, there's more upside by kind of expanding our offerings than there is downside by, offering something that, we can't do in a profitable fashion. And it's a lot of these things can be great exposure as well. And then I think poker, it also teaches you to be very, like objective in your decisions. If something moves against you, if like let's say as an example, GG Poker has added staking within their client, which is something that I think would, take away a moderate amount of room for our business, because for them it's so natural. You've already got your money on GG. You're looking at this tournament. You just click a button and you buy someone. Whereas going to our site, you need to go look separately. You need to compare our lobby to their lobby, make sure it's the same tournament. If you don't have funds on our site, you need to deposit it. Whereas if you're already playing the tournament there. So, I think that's an example, like, their implementation of what we're doing, I think, is more natural. It's cleaner. It's in all honesty, just better. And it's just something where a lot of people might be angry. They might be kind of spiteful, but I think poker, it sort of teaches you like, hey, we knew that was a likely thing that would happen eventually, that poker sites would start, kind of offering more kind of staking type products right through the client. And it's not a big deal. It's not as if this was an unpredictable thing. If we were, we're kind of, you just got to be realistic in, what you see in your business, how much you think it can grow, how much you think it can scale. And I think a lot of people, who don't have that poker background, where you're used to kind of taking bad beats and stuff, might kind of let this sort of, setbacks to your business affect you too much. Whereas for us, it's kind of like, when someone else in the industry makes a good decision, we can applaud them, even if it, hurts our bottom line kind of thing.
When you talked about blackjack earlier, I realized
Okay.
there's another question I've been always discussing with my friends. So you said luck and skill, right? I'm sure no one can deny the luck factor in poker. But do you, for a person as good as you, I'm sure you believe that skill is more important than luck? or you think it's like even, or how do you distribute the allocation?
The way I always describe it is kind of day to day, mostly luck, year to year, mostly skill kind of thing. I would say,
in the long run.
I would probably say like, say you go play a month of poker, I would say then it's maybe, 50-50 luck and skill or whatnot. But if you play a day, it's, 80% luck, whether you win or lose, unless you're really bad. Like if you're the worst player ever, but I'm more talking about someone who's, one of the best versus someone who's pretty good. Who does better over a day is mostly luck. And then over the course of a year, I think it's kind of, 90% skill kind of thing.
So before we finish this video, I promised my audience there will be tips for beginners to improve in their poker game. So anything you can do?
Yeah. So so one thing I would say for tips is it's good to, good to find some friends that are playing in similar games to you, or even playing a little bit higher stakes games than you, where you can bounce ideas off them. Like it's one of those things, almost no one's gotten to high stakes poker doing everything on their own. And so if you play a hand, it's easy to play that same hand 100 times and you made a mistake 100 times. Whereas if you can be, either, roommates with another poker player who can, see some of your hands, or you can send them to friends over, Telegram or WhatsApp or whatnot. And they can be like, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that. I think it's good to kind of bounce ideas off, either friends, or, if you don't have any friends who play poker, just a community, whether it's a forum or, a poker channel or something like that. So I think that's a big thing. And then I would also say for true beginners, I'll give, some strategy advice. Like usually try to be more aggressive than passive. Like the simple idea of, if you're calling, the only way you can win is by making the best hand. If you're betting, you can win either by making the best hand or by making them fold the best hand. So, there's some kind of simple things like that a lot of people play very, very passive early on. And it's, playing, you don't need to go crazy, but, trying to be the aggressor more often than your opponent is the aggressor, I think is pretty helpful. And then, I would also say paying attention to good players, like whatever game whether you play cash games or whether you play Omaha or whether you play short deck or tournaments, kind of look at the plays that the best players are making and look at all the dynamics. Like don't just see someone raise and think, why do you do that? And then you realize, oh, he's in the button. Like, pay attention to what position they're in and whatnot and think, wow, this guy did something that I wouldn't have done. Why is he doing that? And like, poker commentators love acting as if the top players are doing stuff because they're crazy or they're trying to, they're trying to do something, but like they're usually doing something because it's right, so
make it more epic.
Yeah, exactly. Usually the reason they've done is because they've studied hard and determined this is the right play. So if someone does something, if someone does some crazy river bluff raise, it's usually for, there's some method behind the madness. And if you try to think, if you try to think, why did he do this play or whatnot, rather than just think, whoa, it's crazy he did it. Try to think, okay, well, why did he pick this hand? Why did he pick this situation? And at least come up with your own hypothesis. It gives you, you can at least learn something from sort of every hand you see. So yeah, I would say just kind of, focus on, being somewhat critical of your mistakes, try to figure out when you've done something that you think you could change, and pay attention to the best players, what they are and aren't doing. And those would be some of my general tips for how to approach the game.
Great tips. And if I can add one more tip to that, is to watch my videos. Because I've been doing that for a very long time.
That's the biggest tip. Watch all of Ronnie's videos, start to finish. Click subscribe. Watch all of Ronnie's videos. That's how I got to be playing poker at such a high level. I knew nothing. Then I opened Ronnie's YouTube. Watched one video. I was already winning an EPT. Two videos was already playing the high rolls. So watch all of Ronnie's videos.
Mike, you're too good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sure there will be other questions we will have in the future, and I hope to have you back into my channel to share more, whether in poker, in life, or in cryptocurrency, anything. Very, very nice to have you here today. Thank you so much. Yeah,
nice chatting to you. We'll have to do another interview to celebrate our my World Series of Trading victory. Yeah.
Yes, we'll do that.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, see you.
Take care.